Hello everyone, welcome back. It's time for me to work on the rear brakes on my Subaru. So that's what this video will be about. So if you've never done a job like this before, stick around and you'll see how I do it. My first mistake was not raising the car high enough to work comfortably. This rotor surface seems not terrible. It's a little rough. The edges are rough. There is a ridge on there, both edges. I can't get my finger in behind there, so I'm going to have to pop this rotor off to see what's going on there. The first step is to loosen the brake bleeder screw. They're often rusted tight, so it can take a little work to loosen them without damaging them. The brake bleeder screw on this one is a lot more stuck than the two on the front were. Just going to work it back and forth a bit. Try to get it to loosen up. The 10mm wrench is still working here. That's what I used on the front as well. Alright. Let me open this up a touch. I'll use these big pliers to see if I can compress these pistons at all. Compressing the caliper a little creates space between the pads and the rotor. That makes it easier to remove the caliper. I'm using a large pair of channel lock pliers to do this. They come in handy from time to time, and they work good for this. Check the description for a link. I'm aiming to grip the front and back of the caliper slide pins, like this. There is some movement there. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. So these slide pin bolts have a 14mm hex head on them. That came loose really easy. These are coming out so easy I don't even need to use a wrench after they're loosened. When I pulled this out, I noticed that the piston is quite far out. It's not that far out. and it's really rusty on the inside. Let's see how these pads look. Honestly, not that bad. Look at that. That still has a lot of wear left in it. I might just leave these in. But I will be cleaning these brake surfaces. This one also has a lot of life left in it. I'll clean this stuff out that's in this groove. I mean, they come with a groove cut in them, in the center, like that there. But there's a lot of life left in there. I think I just need to clean this rotor. If I end up having to replace the rotor, then I'll use new pads with it. It's very difficult to get onto that bolt back there, the head of that bolt. It's 14 millimeter. I'm trying to get a shot of where that bolt is. Hopefully this comes out. Maybe you can see where that bolt is. It's on the back here. But it didn't come out so bad, so that's good. This is actually turning out to be pretty difficult to get onto the head of this bolt back here. I tried to get a shot of it so you could see. But it turns out it's actually 14 millimeters. I already broke it loose with a breaker bar and it was really easy. It wasn't bad. Let me just try a 3/8 drive deep socket in there. Yep. She's out. Not in bad condition. Now for this bottom one. And bottom right there. I think this one's going to take a long extension.
The rusty backing plate broke when the caliper bracket moved around the bottom bolt.
Wow.
I realized I'd need to temporarily put the top bracket bolt back in to keep the bracket from moving while I work on the bottom bolt. I shouldn't have taken it all the way out in the first place.
Put a little PV blaster on there. See if that helps. Got it. So I obviously didn't use a coated bracket back here. So this is a brake drum for the parking brake, and it's the rear disc brake. This is a brake drum and a rear disc brake in one. Now the brake drum is released, the parking brake, and this rear rotor doesn't want to pull off, so I'm going to have to go get my jacking screws to convince that to come off.
Oops, the camera was off for this part, so this is a simulation.
So I actually already popped it, but I'll just show you. This is how you use the jacking screws. It just pops that rotor right out of there.
Watch the real thing in part 2.
There's a risk when you're using that type of force that the groove or the ridge on the inside of this drum can be pulling on the back side of those emergency brake shoes. So you have to be aware of that. You don't want to damage these brake shoes in the process.
I'll show you how to do this when I'm working on the passenger side brake. I use a wire brush to clean the loose stuff off the hub. This is a good time to loosen the bleeder. I push a piece of tubing on it so most of the brake fluid ends up in a drain pan. Compress the caliper piston with the bleeder cracked open. I see a lot of people that don't do that. I use the big pliers to do this.
Oh, that thing seems like it's frozen.
With the benefit of hindsight, I think it was already fully compressed. You can also compress the piston with a C-clamp if it's not already compressed.
Let's see if I can let's see if that pops out at all when I step on the brake pedal. 2 pumps. Okay, it came out far. Still not sure about reusing this. See how it behaves when I compress it again. Maybe this time? Yeah. She's going. Went back in all the way. Nice and smooth, actually. I'm going to do that a few more times just to exercise it. Okay, that was 2 full compressions of the brake pedal. Seemed to go back pretty smooth. Okay, let's see what that looks like from this angle. That was about 1.5 pumps. I really want to review the video on this and see if I can see the piston retracting at all.
It's definitely working fine.
That piston is heavily rusted and not in great shape, but it extends and retracts smoothly enough. So I'm going to reuse it. I'm going to put all this back together again. And since I'm reusing the same brake pads and the same rotor and the same caliper, which is a little sketchy, I'll probably be back in here in 2 years and replace everything with new.
Check out my rotor cleaning video to see how I prep this. I use a lug nut and washers to temporarily hold the rotor in place while installing the caliper. I put lots of never sees on these bolts.
put these pads in, I'm going to touch them with a little bit of Never Sees right in these areas that contact the abutment shims. So just a little bit. That's way too much. So I'm going to wipe off the excess. Certainly that spot where it touched the pad. There. That'll just keep it from hanging up. That's all it needs, just a little bit.
I put lots of Never Sees on these too.
I'm going to touch the end of that brake bleeder. With a little bit of Never Sees, so that when I put that cap back on, it seals it in. That will help to keep it dry in there. Okay, I'm gonna go push down on the brake pedal and that should squeeze everything together there. Nice solid brake.
The brake job turned out great in the end. I have smooth, powerful brakes that feel like new. Stay tuned for the final installment of my working on Subaru brakes. Coming soon. I'll be finishing up the rear passenger side brakes. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.